Welcome to Go Stargazing Live. I am Vicky Video, and on tonight's show, it is a summer skies spectacular. Well, I say that every single show is spectacular, but really the sky is quite spectacular at all times. More of that later with a special BBC report about the benefits of the night sky. Does the sky really need any more hype? Yes, it does. And here it comes. Whoosh, it's our theme tune. Oh no, we're going to play the countdown first while everybody joins the feed. Then we've got who's coming up. Then it's the live theme tune. Let's go. Oh, I think I've just played the wrong blimmin' countdown there. I thought it had uploaded, but it hadn't. Is that what the problem was before? This software, honestly, is that the right one? I think that's the one from last month. Oh, I uploaded it as well, and it's not. Is it down here at the bottom? Ah, here it is. Here we go. Right, just pretend you never saw any of that. Mind wipe. Here it comes. Hey, I'm a bit rusty. I didn't do last month. I went away to Greece. Look at my little suntan there. I've been away to Greece and to Portmaddock, and we skipped last month's Go Stargazing Live. So I'll have to put a bit of WD-40 into my brain, I think. Just a little bit rusty. So welcome to Go Stargazing Live. I am Vicky Video, and welcome. We've got an interactive chat room. This is the best thing about watching the show. If you type in the comments, they should pop up on screen should I deem them worthy. So please say hello, where you're watching from, and have a little mingle. And don't be shy, please. Even if you've never joined a live stream before, just rock it on into the chat room and say hello. Just type it in the comments now. Go on, try it, and I'll say hello to you. We have got learned astronomers on standby to answer all of your questions, even if you and the kids are just getting into the wonderful and wild world of stargazing. Please ask away. We are here to equip you with the utmost of basics. So, as I say, don't be shy. So tonight we have got a dazzling double feature, a binary star of a live stream, perfect for curious families and skywatchers of all ages. But in the meanwhile, whoosh, it's our theme tune. It's a very jazzy theme tune, I'll have you know.
It's Go Stargazing Live. Make the night sky come alive. It's Go Stargazing Live. Make the night sky come alive. Find the best and darkest places to go stargazing. Cool events and cosmic fun. We'll make the sky amazing. It's Go Stargazing Live. Make the night sky come alive. It's Go Stargazing Live. Make the night sky come alive. With your host, Vicky Video. And maybe, just maybe, a bit of Cosmo.
It's Cosmo! The telescope sloth. Yeah, right, Cosmo. Will he make it back on time from his intergalactic adventures? Let's find out in a moment. So, on tonight's show, meet Fredo the Unstronaut in his jazzy Viking cape. What's the Viking astronaut doing on the show? Well, we'll find out when we are joined by Debbie Strang from SaxaVord Spaceport, who will introduce Fredo. He's an adventurous new animated explorer from Unst in Shetland. Fredo is on a mission to inspire the next generation with fun, facts, space sustainability, and quite the dress sense. Even more jazzy than mine. What am I wearing this time? Look at my jazzy space frock. My space frock. Look at that. It's actually warm enough to wear the space frock. Normally I'm wearing space jumper and space pants, but today it's just space frock. Yes, excellent. The weather is getting warmer. Thank golly gosh for that. In fact, we've got the window open. I've got my Crocs on. You know, normally I'm bundled up here with the heater under the desk and my electric foot warmer on and my electric blanket. We live in a due north facing flat. So it's been a challenging winter. And in fact, we only kind of get the sun coming in here. It starts to come in about March. We get a little sliver of sunlight, and today I noticed it was coming through at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It wouldn't be 1 o'clock at night, would it? That would just be so weird. So yes, anyway, we have got coming up after Fredo. It's that time of year when the nights are short and the days are long, and stargazing with kids can get difficult because it's past bedtime. But never fear, there are still some twilight wonders to be seen, including what I call, no one else calls them this, it's just me and my ridiculously vivid imagination. I call them sellotape clouds, but they are known properly as Noctilucent clouds, aka night shining clouds, the sky's highest glow. We've got astronomy communicator Mary McIntyre, and she'll be taking us on a magical twilight tour of these high altitude clouds. They are rare. They're electric blue summer cloud formations that shimmer in the upper atmosphere. Learn when and where to see them and how to spot them with your family under those summer skies. So from Scotland's space frontier to the mysterious beauty of the Earth's mesosphere, this show is a celebration of learning, imagination, and the science of wonder. Hopefully you're watching it with the kids. This show is streamed in HD. Get us fired up on the big screen. Watch live, ask questions, enjoy the rerun even, and enjoy it with the kids. And as I say before, the low light of the show, we're going to be joined by Cosmo, the Mithering Sloth. He's been away on his mystery adventures. Can you guess where he has been? And I'm not too sure how he's going to react to meeting Fredo, the mascot from SaxaVord. Hopefully they will become best buddies, but you know what Cosmo's like. He could just do his nut and evaporate back off into space. Hopefully he'll be fine though. So first of all, let's have a look. We have got, it's Kath. Hi, Kath. Elizabeth, friend of the show. I was watching Billy's video earlier. I think Kath has been our guest twice, and I wrote a song for her cat, which is just, even by my standards, crazy little song. So Kath, maybe we'll have you on again in a few months' time. It'd be lovely to have you. As you can see, Kath here has commented on the chat room. If you comment, your comments will pop up on the screen as well. So come on, don't be shy, say hello, even if you've never commented on a live video before. This is what Go Stargazing Live is all about, is bringing the stargazing community together. Hey, look, we've got Lisa. Hi, Lisa's Lovely Life 50 Plus. Good evening, Lisa. Whereabouts are you viewing from, please? Thank you very much for your comment. So first of all, I'm going to tell you something that all of us stargazers and astronomers know already, but this was a very recent BBC report. Who needs sunbathing when you could be starbathing? Albeit you'll be using a lot less suntan lotion and you won't be getting sun damage. So starbathing, it's all the rage, but we knew that anyway. A new BBC report highlights growing evidence that simply looking up at the night sky, a practice now known as starbathing, can do wonders for your mental health. And I always think there's something innate in some people, and not my mum. My mum's not interested in the sky. But me, I kind of get this innate pleasure when I tilt my head back. And I think it must be innate in many, many humans just to simply tip their head back and look at the sky, be it clouds, rainbows, birds, craft, and best of all, things that go shine in the night sky. Based on new research, including a 2024 study in the Journal of Environmental Psychology, so this is the big guns, the report explains how feeling connected to the night sky can lower stress, boost happiness, and even reduce inflammation. Yes, so you won't be needing any Voltarol if you do stargazing. Stargazing encourages awe, a powerful emotion that helps calm the nervous system and shift our perspective, especially during anxious times. I call it sky joy. And I think, starbathing, sky joy. Can't beat just sitting under the stars and looking up, Kath. Neither can I. It's the best feeling. And Lisa is in Edinburgh. Thank you very much for that comment, Lisa. Experts say that even one visible star can create a meaningful connection to the universe. It's not about naming constellations. It's about feeling present, grounded, and part of something bigger. The BBC calls this a cosmic reset. It's like Control-Alt-Delete for your nervous system. It's a chance to step away from the chaos of daily life and reconnect through the ancient, unchanging beauty of the stars. That's why kids love it so much as well. If you want to get them off the screens, get them out stargazing, and you'll get at least 3 minutes of quiet before they want to go back in and play, what's it called? Roblox. So the next clear night, step outside, give your eyes time to adjust, and just look up. Let the sky do the rest. But all that peace could be absolutely shattered if you're trying to starbathe and you get interrupted by a pestering, mithering intergalactic sloth. It's Cosmo. Where's he gone? See, he's been a pain already. He's gone out of reach behind the computer. Come on, you. Here he is, jetting in from the depths of the solar system. Cosmo has been my sidekick for, must be 5 years. I've been doing this show in various formats. And I found him abandoned once in my old studio, and we took him home, and here he is, and he's been star of the show and inexplicably gets more fan mail than me. I don't get any fan mail, actually. Feel free to send me fan mail, by the way. Always appreciated. So we are going to read out 3 clues over the course of the show, but don't guess now, or else Cosmo will funnel a jet of red hot plasma from the sun straight down on your house. He did it to me last week, and gee whiz, it didn't half singe my slippers. Right, where's Cosmo's little song that we've got? And then we're going to go into his quiz.
He's the fastest sloth in the universe. Can you guess where Cosmo's been this time?
Hello, Cosmo. Right, okay, so it's a very simple quiz. We don't tax you too much. I'm going to read out 3 clues. Don't answer just yet, otherwise you'll spoil the fun for everyone and Cosmo will fire a plasma jet at you. You have been warned. Okay, what's the first clue, Cosmo? Oh, look at him. He's looking a little bit bruised. He's been involved in lots of collisions. Better put a little bit of steak on that black eye, Cosmo. Actually, steak's way too good for him. How about a bit of Farm Foods wafer thin ham instead? That should sort him out. So, next clue coming up in a moment. Let's take a look at the comments. Oh, hang on a minute. Yes, hello, Julie Rowe. Good evening from Aylesford in Kent. Mary Mendez Jackson is watching in California. We're going global tonight. Bill says, cosmic energy. It's about bathing in the stuff we can't see, not what we can. I like it. I like it. I like it. Go for a little bit of a dark matter bathe. Lovely, lovely. Get some dark energy. Get some dark energy. And Stuart says, good evening from the Scottish borders. Oh, you're especially going to enjoy meeting Fredo and the team from SaxaVord in a moment, Stuart. So there we go. Right. Oh, first of all, where is Jared? Jared, are you watching tonight? I had a message from Jared. He's been one of my Jared McIntyre. He has been, what a great name, Jared McIntyre. It's got a bit of a ring to it, hasn't it? Jared McIntyre. He says, hi, Vicky, long time no see. I'm recently out of hospital with a kidney and water infection together with cellulitis. Ow. Oh, if left any longer, it would have caused me kidney failure and the worst could have happened. Thankfully, my wonderful neighbour rescued me. Jared, I'm so glad to hear that you are on the mend. Cosmo's going to do you a dance. We said that, didn't we? Right. He's getting way too much screen time tonight, Cosmo. Right, where's his dance? Come on. This is the Get Well Jared dance. Right, see you in a few minutes, Cosmo. Right, okay, so now we are heading very far north, about as far north as you can get in the British Isles before you hit the Arctic Circle. We are off to SaxaVord. This is a commercial spaceport being developed to launch satellites into orbit. It's located at a high northern latitude, making it ideal for launching into polar and sun-synchronous orbit. orbit. Once operational, it'll be a hub for small satellite launches, supporting the UK's growing space sector. So first of all, let's meet Debbie Strang. Here we go. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Vicky. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure already because I know what's coming up. So tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we'll go into the videos of Fredo and the spaceport.
Right. I'm Debbie Strang. I'm one of the directors of SaxaVord Spaceport. As you've said, it's a private company. We've been working on this for about 9 years now. Before that, I set up Shetland Distillery Company, maybe for the older viewers. Our most recent gin was put in an astronaut type pouch, actually. Ooh. So that's our mission pouch gin. So we've been doing that for 10 years. But when I left school, I did a geography degree, and then I joined the Royal Air Force for 8 years, which is how I got posted all the way up to the north of Scotland, because I was last at Lossiemouth RAF base. And then when I left there, I went to work for the National Park up here in the Cairngorms. So quite a varied career, and perhaps a good example for maybe older people who are thinking about a career change and looking at the opportunities in space. It just goes to show that you maybe don't need the scientific background that you might thought that you might need. So opportunities for all, really.
Excellent. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just play a short video explaining what is a spaceport. Then we're going to meet Fredo. Okay, here he comes.
Hiya pals, it's Fredo, and welcome to Fredo Explains. Today we're going to answer a big question. What exactly is a spaceport? So, picture an airport. It's where planes take off and land, right? Well, a spaceport is a lot like that, but instead of planes, we launch rockets. A spaceport is a special place where rockets get ready for launch and where they blast off into space. But there's a lot more to it than just a big launch pad. There are different parts that make it work, like launch sites, control centres, and even mission planning teams. First, spaceports have launch pads, those big areas where the rockets actually lift off from. These pads are carefully designed to handle the power and heat of a rocket's engine. Then, we've got control rooms, where teams of experts watch everything closely. They track the rocket's path, make sure everything is going smoothly, and give the final go to launch. And it's not just about launching rockets. A spaceport is also a place where rockets get tested and prepped before their big trip. At SaxaVord, we're a spaceport for rocket companies from all over the world. Our spaceport helps send satellites into space to help with things like weather forecasting, communications, and even environmental monitoring. So, to sum it up, a spaceport is like an airport, but instead of planes, it's rockets! And it's where everything happens. Building, testing, and launching those rockets into space. That's it for today, pals. But remember to keep your feet on the ground and your eyes on the stars. Thanks for watching. Fredo Explains.
That's so good. Thank you for introducing us to Fredo. So first of all, let's have a little bit of an umbrella view of the UK space sector, because I started working in it about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it was completely new to me that the UK even had a space industry. And I know many of our viewers are probably like, what? We've got a spaceport? So give us a little overview, please, Debbie.
And I think that, yes, most people are like that, Vicky, actually. And that's why coming on discussions and meeting with you really helps to raise awareness, because we know a lot of people don't know what's going on. So that's just great. And actually, I just did a quick reminder myself, because it is thriving and really growing so much. I just needed a reminder of the stats. So 45,000 people employed in the space sector at the moment, and the space economy growing by nearly 10% a year. I mean, that is huge growth, especially at times at the moment. And people really believe that by 2035, it will be a value of £1.44 trillion. That's,
Oh, wow.
you know, I know, but I can believe it, and whilst almost quietly, as you say, because we just assume space is usually about the States or Russia or China, or, the UK has been, really developing space innovation, and it's really got strengths in producing small satellites. And Glasgow makes more small satellites than any other country outside California. And every time we say that to people, very few people have any idea that this is going on in one of our cities in the UK, in Scotland. So a huge achievement. And what Scotland and the UK is doing is putting emphasis on space sustainability, because we understand that people will be concerned about the effect that it could have on the environment. And really, the UK has decided to really focus on not doing really minimizing the damage that the space industry could have. It's really important. And we've got to offset that with the fact that we use, when we're looking at tackling climate change or we're looking at environmental management, 50% of the data that's used comes from space. So we do need that data to come down from satellites to allow us to make better use and better management of our very fragile Earth. So a bit of an odd balance there, that we're growing this industry, and we need the data down to do our job better at looking after the Earth. But finding somewhere safe to launch rockets isn't really easy. They need to be really remote. And actually, some countries are never going to be able to have their own spaceport for that very reason. It has to be safe. And in the UK, we were just really fortunate that we have an ideal site right up on the most northerly island in Shetland, far away from major populations, where on this peninsula, the rockets can be launched over the sea. So really minimizing and keeping it as safe as possible.
Excellent. Okay, yes, and that very northerly location of SaxaVord. So tell us a little bit more about the spaceport and what's happening there at the minute then.
So, yeah, SaxaVord is in Shetland. Shetland is a group of about 100 or so islands, and they're closer to Norway than mainland Scotland. And we quite often use the map because people don't necessarily really understand where they are. And so it's on the most northerly island of Unst, hence the name Fredo the Unstronaut. So most northerly island, inhabited island called Unst, with only 650 people living there, and probably an awful lot more sheep. But yeah, so a small population. And as Fredo said, a spaceport is really like an airport in many ways. We're building 3 launch pads, so we don't have a runway like an airport, but we're building 3 launch pads for 3 different rocket companies. And we've got permission to launch 30 times a year. So alongside these 3 pads, we're putting in a big integration hangar, which is a really big industrial unit from the outside. And that's where, when the rockets, or the launch vehicles as we call them, are brought into the integration hangar, there'll be a clean room, and the satellites and the payload are put into the rocket, and it will go out the other way onto the launch pad, onto the launch store, to then launch. And the integration hangar is huge. It's about 15 meters high and almost the size of an indoor football pitch, to be honest. It is a massive building, because the rockets that we can take, could be 30 meters long. So really, a very large rocket. So everything done on a massive scale. And so we're still building the spaceport. So a really, really exciting time for us.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'd really like to see that. So never mind all that. That's all paling into insignificance, because you have now got your very own mascot called Fredo.
We have.
Shall we meet Fredo? We've already kind of met him once, but give us a little intro.
So I've mentioned the launch pads, and we have 3, and we have named all of them. And the one that is complete, which our German company is working from, is Launchpad 1, but the Launchpad is Fredo. And that was the inspiration for Fredo. There's a really exciting time coming up, and what we want is somebody who can explain to people of all ages, but really focused on sort of 3 to 10-year-olds, explaining it in a way that they understand for what's going on in the British Isles, which is, first time ever vertical launch from UK soil. So somebody that is fun-loving but really interested in what's going on here. And because we've done this within the company, he can find out and give the snippets. He can talk to the team. He can do all sorts and tell the story as it's happening. So that's why we needed him to exist and to reveal himself to everybody.
Excellent. So let's meet Fredo himself and check out his little costume. He's he's looking a bit Viking inspired, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Vicky, he is our Viking Unstronaut, because we're so close to Norway, a lot of influence. And to us, when we're telling the story of the spaceport, it's of equal importance to us that this is Shetland. This is a really small island within the UK that is leading the way in Europe in so many ways, that actually to have him being part of his location was really important, because there's far more a story to tell than just the spaceport itself. I mean, bizarrely, 2 years ago, we found a Bronze Age burial site on the launch site. So there's lots to talk about on the spaceport, and the fact that Fredo encompasses the location and the Viking, the tough, the hardy, just adds a little more to him, a little more adventure.
Excellent. Okay, let's meet Fredo properly this time. He's coming through the wires.
Amazing job,
late,
Fredo.
Hi, Fredo.
Ah.
Hi, Fredo.
Are you ready for a mission, Fredo?
Hey there, Fredo.
Hey there, Fredo. Welcome back.
Hello, Fredo.
Ah, Fredo, I hear you're on another mission.
Oi, Fredo, ready for some serious launch business?
Hiya, pals. Fredo here, ready for another adventure. I'm trying to become an Unstronaut. Why is SaxaVord Spaceport all the way up here in Shetland? All right, Unstronauts, now it's your turn. We're going to make a mini water monitor. First, the weather vane, the map radius calculator. This will be our rocket.
Today you've earned your very first mission patch.
You're just one step closer to becoming an astronaut.
Well done, Fredo. You've earned your weather patch.
And you've earned your safety mission patch.
Here's your well-deserved SaxaVord launch patch.
Thanks for watching, pals. And remember to keep your feet on the ground and your eyes on the stars. Well done, Unstronauts.
He's looking like a fabulous character.
Yes, and so so there's lots of exciting activities on the website that people can go and have a look. So it's Fredo Mission Centre, and it's been set up especially for parents, teachers, those that want to, guide leaders, all sorts, to look at what the activities are, and they can, work towards things like the safety mission patch, as we mentioned, specific activities to understand what we're doing at the spaceport. And you'll see all those people that he's been interviewing. Those are some of the team members, a lot of young folk in there, and they'll talk about their job and what they're doing at the moment, because Fredo is another way we can really encourage people, young people, to think about a career in space. And it's not just about the real technical ones. It's, there are lots of opportunities in space. So that's a big part for us, really encouraging that.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with Fredo, and of course all your other missions that you're working on. And hopefully we'll see SaxaVord making wonderful headline news fairly soon, Debbie.
Great. Thank you.
What do you think? Do you think Cosmo and Fredo would get on?
I think they would. I think it's probably, they should be introduced very soon, actually. I think it would be a good idea.
I think they'd both like to have some astronaut ice cream together and jet off into low Earth orbit on one of your 30-meter rockets.
Perfect.
He's excited. Great stuff. Debbie, it's been a pleasure, and congratulations to everybody up at SaxaVord for the brilliant progress that you've made so far, and keep rocketing on.
Thanks, Vicky. Thank
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, hang on. We might have a question here. Let's have a look. Excellent videos. Kath says, Fredo will be great to encourage youngsters to get into space.
Oh, thank you, Kath. That's great. I will pass that on. Great. Thank you.
Karen says, we love Fredo. So we've already got a fan club opening here. Sandra Grace says, it all sounds very exciting to have launches from the UK.
It is. It is.
Truly, yeah. And Bob
I like
says,
all these. I was just going to say, I like all these females coming through because that's what we need, more females in space. And then Bob turns up, but that's great. No, we like everyone being interested.
Yeah, I've just noticed most of my comments are actually from females tonight. In fact, so there we go. That's great. Well, spread the get your young daughters into space, and it's for everybody. Space is for absolutely everybody, and there's so many vacancies. You don't have to be you don't have to be an astronaut, do you? You can just work in any sector you want practically and extrapolate it to space.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent, Debbie. Thank you so much. See you soon, and bye, Fredo. Bye. Bye. Thank you for your kind comments there, everybody, with Debbie from SaxaVord. Okay, so if I was younger, I'd love to go to space. Wouldn't we all, Sandra? Well, actually, I don't think I'd cope very well, being the sensitive little creature that I am. But maybe, Sandra, you could go on my behalf. Right, where are we up to? I know. Press all the buttons. Do you know, I've been using this software for 5 years now, and it still flummoxes me. It's still hard. But here we go. Here come some important messages.
Go Stargazing Live
Is sponsored by First Light Optics, home of the Sea Star Smart Telescope that everyone can use.
Download our free Go Stargazing mobile app
To find out what's that in the sky, where and when to stargaze, and the best telescopes for beginners.
Go Stargazing.
Okay, so Cosmo, back again. Where have you been? We're going to read out his second clue. What was the first one? See if I can remember it. Oh, yeah, he's bruised from some collisions. There you go. He's been jetting off. He's been bruised because he's been involved in some collisions. The second clue, don't answer now, otherwise Cosmo will fly his rocket over to your house and hide all your phone chargers, your passport, and all your left shoes. He's very mischievous like that. But here comes the next clue. Where's your little song on, Cosmo? Here it is. Is it that one? Got that many buttons to press. He's the fastest sloth in the universe. Can you guess where Cosmo's been this time? Cosmo, this is a stupid clue. Did you write it? Without it, the solar system's trousers would fall down. So where could Cosmo have been? Without it, the solar system's trousers would fall down. Right. See you in a minute, Cosmo. Right then, we are now going over to Mary McIntyre. I've not seen her for a few years, but we have met at many spangly, starry-eyed space events. Usually it's me and Mary sat right at the front in our space frocks. Oh, look at that. Quite like that. It's a good little effect there. Can you see me? I'm camouflage against the background there. She's an award-winning UK-based astronomer, astrophotographer, and science communicator and artist, don't forget. A co-host of the Sky at Night magazine's podcast. She also appeared on BBC's Sky at Night, discussing the global meteor network. Mary's passion for astronomy reignited after becoming disabled, leading her to a thriving career in outreach, astrophotography, and writing. Basically, Mary does everything in astronomy, and we are going to meet her now. Where's Mary gone? Are you coming, Mary?
Hello. Great to see you.
Been too long. Look at you, and also you've got giant hair, which I'm well gel of. Lovely. How are you keeping now, Mary?
I'm really good, thanks. Very busy with astronomy stuff, which is the dream. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about the projects you work on, Mary.
involved in so many things. Just for a hobby, I love to do astronomy art, but I also love astrophotography, so I do both. My job is teaching astrophotography and doing sketching workshops. I am a writer. I do talks on a whole variety of different subjects, and yeah, just I love outreach. I love getting the general public excited about astronomy, so that's one of my big passions. So yeah, it's amazing to be able to do that for a living.
Nice one, Mary. Yeah, I know I've tried to get you on the show quite a few times and you've just said you're so busy. So I'm honoured to have you here tonight for the Go Stargazing live audience. Yeah. Okay, so I've just got a couple of comments in. Look, wow, they're flooding in from all over the world tonight. Hello, Carol from South
Hi,
Africa.
Carol.
And do you know Ian Baker? Have you ever met Ian? He's been one of my long-time fans for many years now, Mary.
I probably have, but I'm sorry if I don't remember.
You've surely met Kath, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Loads of times. Right. Hi, Kath. So, Mary, some lovely things happening in the summer skies. Tell us a little bit more about what we're going to be talking about tonight.
So the things that I've narrowed it down to over the summer skies, first of all, Noctilucent clouds, because they are just probably my very favorite thing in the universe, even though it means you're very tired, and I'll talk about why that is in a minute. As well as that, we've got the summer solstice coming up, and we can also look for the Milky Way. Midsummer, if you're really far north, it doesn't get very dark, but there is still the summer triangle and the coat hanger asterism that we can look for as well. So there are a few things that you can be doing. We've got the strawberry moon coming up. So there's quite a lot happening over the next month or so.
Okay, let's go for it then.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my slides. So first of all, going to talk about Noctilucent clouds. As I said, they are my very, very favorite things. So hopefully you can see that now. Noctilucent clouds, the name Noctilucent means night shining. And you can see on the photographs at the top half of the screen there that they kind of have this really wispy, eerie, bluish white glowing feature about them, while the rest of the atmosphere is in shadow. So they kind of glow. And if you've ever seen them, you'll understand what we mean. They really do shine. So they are a type of polar mesospheric cloud. So this is just a graphic showing the different layers of atmosphere. Where aurora is up on the edge of space. And then below that, we have the mesosphere. So it's way, way up, about 80 kilometers above the Earth's surface. That is where you've got the boundary between the mesosphere and the thermosphere. That is where Noctilucent clouds hang out. So they are essentially clouds that are on the edge of space. And they are just incredibly beautiful to look at. And the reason that we can see them in the UK is because these are, the name polar mesospheric cloud means that they cluster around the poles in the summer months. So for us here in the UK, that's June, July kind of time when they're at their best. And they cluster around the North Pole. So you may think, well, if they're around the North Pole, how come we're seeing them? And it's purely because they're so high. And they're so high that they stay illuminated by sunlight even when the other layers of your atmosphere are actually in shadow, which is why they have that kind of glowing feature. If you've ever seen a really high up aircraft with a vapor trail that is really orange at sunset, it's a very similar kind of thing. So these clouds, the ice crystals that form them are incredibly tiny, which is why we can't see them in the daytime. So I'm sure we've all seen a ruler with 1 millimeter divisions on it. So if I just take one of those 1 millimeter divisions and break it into 10, we have all of these little segments. And then I'm going to take one segment of that again, and that is this blue square. So this entire blue square is 1/10 of a millimeter, and that dot in the middle of the screen there is how big the ice crystals are for Noctilucent clouds.
That is the size of Cosmo's brain.
It is insane, like 0.1 microns small. So in order for these crystals to form, you need a nucleus, and we believe it's micrometeorite dust or possibly ash from volcanoes, but they are microscopically tiny fragments of something that acts as a nucleus. And then you then need a bit of water in the atmosphere to then condense and form this ice crystal. crystal. It's very, very dry up in that part of the atmosphere, so there isn't a lot of water around. So that's why we don't see noctilucent clouds every night. Sometimes it's just too dry up there. But if you do get that nucleus and there is a bit of moisture there and it forms this crystal, you end up with these very, very tiny crystals, all in a cluster, kind of orbiting the polar regions. And when you go out and look at these, you're generally looking an hour to 90 minutes after sunset, when the sun starts to get about 6 degrees below the horizon. And when the sun is between 6 and 16 degrees below the horizon, that is when the noctilucent clouds are still high enough to be illuminated while you are kind of in twilight. So at this time of year, especially when we get into mid-June, it doesn't fully get dark if you're looking at the northern horizon. So you often have that kind of orange band underneath, and then you've got these beautiful wisps of cloud. They are just so ethereal and so beautiful. But if you're having to look at them an hour and a half after sunset in midsummer and then an hour and a half before sunrise, basically I don't go to bed around midsummer. I'm just up most of the night looking for these. So I start off the season very enthusiastic. By the end of it, my husband's like, would you please just get some sleep? Because they really do require some pretty late nights, but they're so worth it. And they have this kind of property about them. They look like ripples of water on the surface of the sea or a lake, just being glinting in the sun. They're just incredibly gorgeous. So they generally are along the northern horizon, and after sunset you may see them more on the western side, before sunrise on the eastern, but there are nights where you see it all the way across the horizon as well. So if you look at this panorama at the top here, you can see that there are two distinct patches that are very bright. These are all taken from Oxfordshire, these photographs looking north. So this particular display is not breathtaking, but it is still very beautiful with those little patches that you can see. Other times you can have 100 degrees of horizon full of these clouds, and very occasionally they can actually reach all the way up to the zenith as well, rather than just hugging the horizon. But generally they're only about 10 to 15 degrees above the northern horizon. So if you want to see them, you do need a really clear view of the north, and just be out there looking and just hoping that they appear. A few years ago we had Comet Neowise, and when I saw Neowise was going to be in the northern sky, I was like, please, please, please let me get both. And I did. And this was one of those nights where I was just in tears because I was so happy with the view that I saw. It happens quite a lot. I'm a wet blanket, but this was just incredible. It was everything that I wanted it to be. They do actually create absolutely gorgeous time lapses because the noctilucent clouds are moving at a very different rate from any clouds that are lower down. And although it's good to have a very clear sky, sometimes having a few patches of the darker cloud as well gives you another layer of movement. But the way they move is just very slow, and through binoculars they're absolutely incredible. If you've got a bright display, you can photograph it with just a mobile phone. It's really, really nice. And when you see them up close, if you take some time lapses with the zoom lens, you can really see the movement. It's affected by gravity waves. There are multiple different formations that these clouds can have, but really they just glow. They're just shining there like this beautiful wispy beacon. And I don't do early starts. I'm not somebody that likes to get up in the early hours of the morning once I've gone to sleep, but I will do it for these because these clouds are so gorgeous. So yeah, basically it's very difficult to predict because we don't fully understand the mechanisms behind their formation. But there are webcams across Germany and other parts of Eastern Europe. And because they're an hour ahead of us, those webcams pointing north, you get a bit of a heads up if a display is going to happen. So what I do now is set my alarm, have a look on the webcams. If there's something exciting happening, I get up and travel to my site where I can actually see them better. If there's not much happening, I might just call it and go back to sleep. But those webcams, if you search for NLC webcam, you'll be able to find those links. We did used to have a satellite above the pole that was keeping a track of the accumulations, but that satellite died. But we do have radar. So there is on one of the NLC webcam websites, there's actually this plot and you can see echoes bouncing off the water vapor in the mesosphere. So at the moment, I haven't seen any yet this year, but there are some signatures on that radar. So any day now, we're going to start seeing them for the first time this year. So that's noctilucent clouds. They are just so stunning. And I think if you're not sure whether you've seen them, you probably haven't, because they're so distinctive and so glorious that it's kind of hard to mistake them for anything else.
I've got a
So
question,
yeah, it's
Mary.
late nights and early starts, but definitely worth it, I think.
Well, yeah, and my Facebook feed, well, as we're friends with lots of astro people, our Facebook feed is just full. I've got a question about them, Mary. Are they there all year?
No, they're not. So they basically form when the upper atmosphere is colder than minus 123 Celsius, which is very, very cold. And that only happens when the lower levels of the atmosphere are warm. And that is why it only happens in the summer months. So once our lower atmosphere gets warm enough, it gets cold enough up there for this ice to form. So that will only happen in the summer months. So in the southern hemisphere, it will obviously be during December time that they have southern hemisphere noctilucent clouds. We don't get seen as often down there because there isn't as much land mass within a good view of where the clouds actually reside. So we do get southern hemisphere displays, but nowhere near as many as we do up north. There's a lot of land that is in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, so that was a good question. I forgot to say that it needs to be very, very cold up there. The other interesting thing about them is they were not reported until 1885. That was the very first time anybody cited them. And people through history were amazing people for recording weather and had a really good understanding of weather phenomenon. So there's no way that they wouldn't have been recorded if they'd happened prior to that. So there is one theory that us putting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, warming up our lower atmosphere, is actually what's contributed to them being seen more frequently. The other thing that impacts how often we see them is solar activity. So at the moment, you probably a number of aurora displays that we've had from the UK over the last couple of years. When you've got a lot of solar activity, that means there's more UV hitting the atmosphere. UV breaks down water. So what little water there is up there can get completely dissociated if there's a lot of UV coming from the sun. So generally around solar max, you don't see as many very big displays of noctilucent clouds as you do during solar minimum. So last year, I think I only saw one display from Oxfordshire, but if you live north of Birmingham, you've got more chance of seeing them because you are just that bit further north. So there's a lot of things we don't understand about them, but we are learning, and all observations of them are super important. So if you do see them and photograph them, please submit your observations to the Society for Popular Astronomy and the BAA, British Astronomical Association, because knowing how high they got, where you saw them, is super important for monitoring them.
Ah, right. Okay. Every little helps with something like this then. Right, Mary, time is racing on, but what else can we be expecting to see in the summer months?
Okay, we've got the Milky Way at this time of year, which is at its best for us in the UK. So although we don't get full astronomical darkness, if you are in a dark sky site, you may see the arch of the Milky Way. If you are somewhere dark, let your eyes get dark adapted. This is a panoramic picture that I took on the 1st of June last year. Once we get into July, the arch of the Milky Way is a little bit higher, and all the bit closer to the galactic core is a little bit higher above the horizon. So that is a challenge to see from anywhere other than dark skies, but it is possible to see it. But if you're out and about and there's moonlight or something else around, the other thing you can look for is the summer triangle. So if we go back to this picture and zoom in on this area, you will see that there are 3 bright stars, and that is Vega, Deneb, and Altair. And they are really useful to locate. They will really be very obvious to the naked eye. They're harder to see on a photograph than they are naked eye. That triangle gives you a heads up of where the Milky Way is, because the Milky Way through Cygnus is bang in the middle of the summer triangle. So the summer triangle is a really great thing to look for. But the other thing near Cygnus, this is the stars of Cygnus, which again are more obvious to the naked eye. Just a little bit to the right and below that is one of my very favorite asterisms called the Coat Hanger. And this is basically just a group of stars. They're not actually gravitationally bound to each other, purely line of sight effect. Looks like a very, very tiny upside down coat hanger, and through binoculars that is just so pretty, and it really is one of the few times where an asterism looks like the thing it's named after. So that's definitely worth looking for if you do have binoculars. You don't need very powerful ones to see that. You can definitely see that. Take a picture with your phone pointing that way, you'll probably pick it up as well if you zoom in. The best time for the Milky Way is when the moon's out of the way. So if you want to look for the Milky Way from tonight through to the 1st of June, and then again from the 22nd of June onwards while the moon's out of the way again, that side of the cycle. And around 1:30 in the morning is the best time, because that's when the sky's at its darkest. The 11th of June, we've got the full moon, and that is the strawberry moon this month. So the names given to full moons relating to the North American almanac. And in North America, back when these were named, this was the month where the strawberries were harvested. So it just happened that when I took this strawberry moon picture about 8 years ago, it just happened to rise through a lot of moisture, and it actually does look strawberry pink. It doesn't always look like that when it rises, but this is my strawberry moon picture, and so look out for that on the 11th of June. Also on the 22nd of June, if you're up early in the morning, we've got a waning crescent moon that is going to lie above Venus. Venus and crescent moon conjunctions are so beautiful. This was one that I took in 2014. This time the moon's going to be above Venus, but they're both so bright and so gorgeous that that's definitely worth looking out for. And the new moon is on the 25th of June, so that's the time to try to have a look at some deep sky stuff, although we're not going to get full darkness yet at this time of year. I stopped sharing. I just briefly want to mention that we do have the summer solstice coming up. The word solstice comes from the old English word solstitium, meaning sun stands still. And if you look at the sun around noon that whole week, it will reach a very similar altitude in the south at noon. So that is actually on the 21st of June at 3:41 a.m. And that is when the Earth's tilt is at its maximum and the sun is at the highest point in the sky. So that's what the solstice is all about. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about for the coming month.
Oh, Mary, thank you so much. That was such a good presentation. And thank you for that was a dazzling amount of information, beautifully presented, and just reminds me just how much wonder there is in the night sky. So thank you so much. Now, just give us a little plug for some of your broadcasting that you do and where else we can find you.
Yeah, I co-host the Sky at Night Star Diary podcast. I've also, last year, I co-wrote this book with Ian Ridpath and Rachel Federman, the Collins Stargazer's Bible. And if you are interested in my pastel drawings, there are quite a few of them in a new book that came out last month called Who's Who in the Moon. And this book is all about the people that lunar craters are named after. It was written by Catherine Rayner and Brian Jones. And there are 11 of my pastel drawings in there. So I've got one here that I can just quickly show you. So this is one of my lunar pastel sketches. So I absolutely love drawing in pastels. So I do loads of moon stuff like that. And I do some deep sky stuff as well. And this is something that everybody can do. Look at the James Webb Space Telescope photographs and just get your coloring stuff out and draw a picture of it. So this is the Eta Carina Nebula from James Webb, done in pastels. And I did one of the Tarantula Nebula, even though I'm terrified of spiders. The Tarantula Nebula was just such a beautiful photograph that I did a drawing of that as well. So even if you don't have a telescope, there are so many amazing images on the internet. You can just use whatever drawing medium you have, whatever coloring utensils you have, and just put it on paper and have a go at drawing it, because it's so much fun and you will learn so much about the object by drawing it.
Oh, Mary, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm. And yeah, highly recommend Mary's art classes. She taught me how to draw a lunar crater and it was photorealistic. Still the best picture I've ever done, Mary. Thank you so much.
Oh, fab.
All right, my lovely. Say hello to Mark for me as well.
I will. Thank you.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Mary's dazzling enthusiasm for space makes me look positively dour, I must say. Right, okay, where did we get up to? Right, we've got Cosmo in a little bit. In fact, let's have Cosmo now, and then we're going to go over to Captain Neil, and he's got news about what's coming up for the Go Stargazing crew. So, Cosmo, where have you been this time?
He's the fastest sloth in the universe. Can you guess where Cosmo's been this time?
Okay, it's fastest finger first. Who can guess where Cosmo has been? The third and final clue. He has been out somewhere between Mars and Jupiter. He's been weeping little sloth tears for a planet that never was. So where do you think he's been? What's the first clue? He's bruised from collisions. The second one, the solar system's pants would fall down without it. And the third one, he's been weeping sloth tears for a planet that never was, somewhere out between Mars and Jupiter. Oh, Ian. Yeah, Bob, how good is Mary's artwork? It's just spectacular, isn't it? Ian Baker. Let's see if anybody else can get it right. Ian's a know-it-all anyway, so he doesn't count. Yes, you do, Ian. Yes, you do. Come on, Cosmo. Where's he been? He has been to, right, in 3, 2, 1. He has been to the asteroid belt. And of course, the solar system's trousers would fall down without it. A few asteroid belt facts here. It lies between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. It contains millions of rocky objects ranging from tiny dust particles to dwarf planets. The total mass of the asteroid belt is only about 4% of the moon. Asteroids are remnants from the early solar system, possibly thought to be from a planet that never formed. The belt is not very densely packed. The space between them is vast, so spacecraft can pass through safely. So Lord knows how Cosmo managed to prang into so many. Oh, Sarah, CFC Roberts, thank you very much. You also got it right. The asteroid belt. Well done, Cosmo says. Well done. Right, let's launch him back into orbit for his next mission, and he'll be back next month. Pooh! He reached escape velocity, and he's currently doing 18,000 miles an hour around the planet. Right then, we're nearly over. Well done to everybody for guessing. We are now going to go over to Captain Neil, who's been sat very patiently waiting for all this. Here he is. He's the big boss here at Go Stargazing. Hi,
hello, good
Neil.
evening.
Thank
good
you.
evening, Vicky.
That was a fun show, wasn't it?
It's been brilliant. What fabulous guests. So thanks to both of them. It's great to make Mary's acquaintance after all of this time. And yeah, what a fabulous little presentation on Noctilucent clouds.
What are your thoughts on them, Neil? Pretty pollution or...
No, they look spectacular. I've seen them a couple of times, and each time I have seen them and photographed them, they're amazing. So they're well worth staying up for or getting up early, depending on whether you're going to try and catch the evening show or the early morning show. But fingers crossed for this year, they'll be good. They weren't so good last year, but I think this year might be better.
Awesome. So Neil, what have you got in your cosmic bag for us tonight?
So what I thought I'd mention is, just because it's coming up with summer, Mary's obviously covered off a lot of the things that are well worth looking out for this summer. So I thought I'd mention about some of the star camps that are coming up. So a star camp is how I actually got into astronomy. I first went to the Kielder Forest Star Camp must have been about 12 years ago. And, it's just where astronomers gather in perhaps a remote location where the skies are dark, normally around a new moon. And, basically it's a great social event as well as enjoying the night sky. So I thought I'd mention some star camps that are coming up. So if I just, can I share my screen very quickly? Yeah. I'm just going to share some pages from my website.
Or is it there at the bottom?
Yes. Start that off for us.
Yeah. So
if you go to gostargazing.co.uk and have a look under the event menu, there's this star camps. And that'll bring you to this Go Star camping page. And basically it's a list of star camps that are coming up. So if I just scroll down the list here, down the page, gives you a little bit of detail about what to expect at these star camps. So basically, the vast majority of them are just perfect for beginners or for families as well. They're just a great way of getting out under the dark, starry skies, because they're, star camps, they tend to run over a weekend or maybe even as long as a week. So you maximize some of the chances of getting some clear weather. So here's a list coming up. So we start off pretty much May and July. There's star camps happening in the Cambrian Mountains. This one in May, that's this weekend, but the one in July, at the end of July, these are organised by my friend Alan Trow, who runs Dark Sky Wales. So he hosts a whole weekend of stargazing and talks and telescope viewings and guided tours of the night sky at this wonderful location in central Wales. Then we also have, coming up at the end of August, the Dolby Forest Star Camp. So this is in the North York Moors. Okay, so here's a little map here. So just in the North Yorkshire, this is the North York Moors Dark Sky Park. And this is hosted at a fabulous location right in the middle of the forest, a place called Addiston Field. And basically, it's far away enough from any of the local towns, and Scarborough in particular, just to allow the skies to darken. And it's brilliant for families and beginners, and everybody's welcome there. So if you're interested in that, that's at the end of August, and that's worth booking up for. Also, the same weekend is the Hurst-Monceau Astronomy Festival. This, again, is a weekend of camping, and it's located at this fabulous location in the southeast of England. Here we go here. There's the map. So Hurst-Monceau doubles up as the Observatory Science Centre. So they've got lots of telescopes and a visitor centre. And this weekend festival has lots of talks and presentations and planetarium shows. And again, it's just brilliant for families and beginners. Perhaps it might, hopefully not, but it might be the last one ever as well, because the location here, we're not sure what's happening and whether it will continue to host the Observatory Science Centre, but fingers crossed it does. And then, heading on into September, there's Kelling Heath Star Party. That's in North Norfolk. Alan's doing some more in Central Wales. And then this is perhaps one that I'm really looking forward to, Astro Camp, which is mid-September. This is organised by my friend Jenny Millard. And this is hosted in the Brecon Beacons. So another fantastic dark sky area. And this one's this one I haven't been to before, but it seems really quite informal and quite friendly. And, again, everybody's more than welcome. And there's a local pub nearby too, just in case it gets cloudy. So, so if you haven't made plans for end of summer, I'd thoroughly recommend checking out one of these star camps on my website.
Yes, absolutely, Neil. I've been to a few, and it's an understatement to say they are magical. And best of all, the astronomers there have usually got many thousands of pounds worth of kit and technology, and they are more than happy to let you look down it without spending a penny of your own money. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, certainly. If you want any advice, or if you've got your own telescope and you need some help with it, these are great places just to go along and get some help.
Awesome. And you can also find out about all the events taking place on the free Go Stargazing app. We've just got a couple of late comments here. Lucy is in Weston-super-Mare. She'll look out for the star camp. She has a telescope and need to use it. Yes, use your telescope. Yep. And Kath says Hurst-Monceau Astronomy Festival is amazing. Excellent.
I would probably head to that one, but it's literally the other end of the country from me. So it's perhaps the furthest place I could possibly go without.
And to wrap us up, Bob says, carry on camping, Neil. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
That's a bit of a niche reference nowadays. How long ago were the Carry On films? Like 50, 60 years ago now, probably. Wow. Showing our age, aren't we, Neil?
Oh, don't mention that. It's I'm just about to complete my 50th orbit of the sun in a few days' time. So
oh my gosh, I've not sent you anything.
Don't worry about it. No, that wasn't a hint at all. No, don't worry. But yes, it's
Cosmo sends birthday regards. Cosmo sends birthday regards.
Thank you. Yeah, I think how many miles I've travelled through space in that time.
Oh yeah. Kath said it's worth travelling to Hurst-Monceau. So. Okay. There you go. Well, thank you to everybody who's contributed to the show tonight. Everybody in the chat room whose comments have popped up. Well done to the people who got the question right. Thank you to Debbie Strang from SaxaVord and Fredo the Unstronaut. And very much thank you to Mary McIntyre, FRAS, and of course to Captain Neil. Let's play our good night stargazers theme, and then we're going to jet off into the deep blue yonder. No chance of NLCs tonight. It's looking pretty mucky out there, isn't it? How's your sky tonight, Neil?
Yeah, pretty cloudy tonight. I think next few days might be worth looking out for. And the weekend's supposed to be really good weather. So.
Oh, is it? All right. Didn't know that. Right. We'll be back for a final goodbye momentarily. Good night, stargazers. You've been really amazing. Good night to you. Love from the Go Stargazing crew. Last couple of comments here to tickle our egos, Neil. Great show tonight. Thank you very much, Kath. Ian says, great show, Vicky. Thank you. Love it when you spell my name right, Ian. And Kath also says, happy 50th, Neil. And happy 50th from me as well, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you for organising this, Vicky. Fantastic show. Well done.
It's been a pleasure. Bye, everybody. Oh, and clear skies.
Clear skies.